Welcome, everyone, to the L7C podcast. Typically on Sundays, we do Buckeye reviews, but the Buckeyes were not playing against that team up north. But big news happened in our other area of expertise, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and a whole bunch of announcements happened. A whole lot of information came out at once. So to help me break this all down, I had to call in the captain, Byron Mitchell. How are you doing today, sir?
I am doing good. Very excited to talk about Marvel news today.
Yeah, man, and they've been pretty silent. The second half of 2020, Black Widow was supposed to come out in May 1st and had to get pushed back due to coronavirus. Then it got pushed to November, and then they decided to just push it to May 2021. And they've been real silent. DC's been out there. Me and you reviewed DC Fandom early in the summer, and we were wondering if Marvel was ever going to have something like that, and they did. A couple of days ago at the Disney's Investor Day 2020, there was a slew of MCU stuff announced. And Byron, I'll let you decide. Where do you want to start? Because there's something for each thing we got to hit a little bit.
Yes, sir. I think we should start with the trailers because that is what I saw first, because that's what you sent our We Are the Endgame group chat. Like, I woke up from a nap and there were like these trailers, so I started looking at it. I was like, oh, cool, trailers. That's cool. Then I looked at Twitter, and Twitter was having a field day with all the Marvel news.
Yeah, all right, let's hit that up. First trailer, it was actually technically the second trailer for WandaVison. WandaVision is the Disney Plus show that's going to be starring Scarlet Witch. And Vision, so Scarlet Witch played by Miss Elizabeth Olsen, and Vision, Paul Bettany. And joining them in this also is going to be Kate Dennings. If you remember her, she is Darcy from Thor and Thor the Dark World, and Randall Park from Ant-Man and Wasp. And then we've all suspected that this is in Wanda's head, but we're not confirmed yet because anyone who's seen Infinity War, Vision died, and he was not brought back at Endgame. And so we're going to see what that's going on. And then we have Teyonah Parris as a grown-up Monica Rapinoe. And it's kind of crazy for those who have played the Avengers video game that's currently out. Monica is one of the head honchos at AIM. So it looks like we're going to be having AIM in the MCU. What do you think? What did you think when you saw that trailer, Byron?
I thought it was a great trailer. I know we haven't talked about this before, but I actually love the play on the name WandaVision because, like you said, it's about Wanda and Vision. Mm-hmm. But it seems like they're going to be like in a TV show, like a TV series. So that kind of like WandaVision, like a TV show. So I just thought it's a great play on the name. Like in the trailer, you see like it progresses from like a black and white television series to like a more modern TV series. Like you said, AIM might be the main villain in this TV series, which is very interesting because we just had their first big debut in the Marvel Avengers game, and they are being a terror in that game. So I can only imagine what they're going to do like in the MCU.
Agreed. And this one is going to be the first of the TV series to come out. It's coming out January 15th. So about a month, literally a month from now, we'll be watching WandaVision, which is crazy that January is that close.
Yeah, this year is going by fast.
And then trailer-wise, we finally got a trailer, a full-length trailer for Falcon and Winter Solider. Were you able to peep that one?
Yeah, I actually like that trailer as well. You didn't really get much. It's more of a teaser trailer. This follows after Endgame, where Captain America decides to retire, and then Falcon takes up the legacy of Cap. I know a lot of fans were like hoping to see Bucky as become Captain America like he does in the comics, but Falcon also becomes Captain America in the Falcon. In the comics. So I like how they went with Falcon because, representation matters and all that good stuff. I like the suit that they showed in the trailer. It looks amazing. I'm sure that we'll get to see like a red, white, and blue version of that. But I thought the trailer was really good. We did get to see like a few glimpses of the U.S. agent, which is like the government's version of Captain America. I'm very surprised that we didn't see Baron Zemo, but again, it's a teaser trailer, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah, with that one, I was real interested to see that trailer to see what we're dealing with because I think Ross should be in that. Senator Ross. We know Sharon Carter is going to be back in that. Zemo's going to be in that. So it's going to be interesting to see what storyline they're playing. I mean, it started off with Falcon saying the legacy of that shield is complicated.
Yep. Which is a great line, by the way.
Yeah, so we're going to see how those two interact because, I mean, typically when Falcon and Winter Soldier interacted, there was always Captain America. That was their bond between the both of them. And now he's gone. So seeing those two work as a team will be interesting, especially Falcon, who I don't want to say both are sidekick type characters, but now with the original six, well, of course, some of them are still around, but they're not the main spotlight anymore. Endgame was their last time being the main spotlight. So now we're trying to push these new characters, and we're going to see how Anthony and Sebastian do as the leads, and that one should be. They all should be good, but that won't be interesting. If it has the Winter Soldier type feel of realism, it'll be very interesting.
I think it'll be a good one. Because from the trailer, you can kind of get a feel like there's going to be they have like a buddy cop relationship. Like Falcon was making fun of Bucky, and I think they'll just have like that great interaction of just like friends, just trying to get the mission done.
Right. The other trailer that did come out, which I actually feel like most people were more excited for this one, was the Loki trailer.
Yes. Very, very good trailer.
And for Endgame, when they went back to 2012, that Loki escaped with Tesseract. So we're going to be following that Loki because our present-day Loki is dead. Thanos killed him. So we're following the 2012 Loki and what happened with that timeline shift. There's a lot going on in that trailer. It looks like he's in jail of some jail that can hold an Asgardian, which that's impressive in itself. And it's going to be one of those shows you're cheering for the bad guy. Because I remember the first teaser, he said he's going to burn that place to the ground.
I forgot about that teaser.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I had to look this up because I didn't know what the TVA was. So they are it's called the Time Variance Authorities, and they basically like monitor the timelines / multiverses and can prune timelines if they deem they are far too dangerous. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out because, like you said, this is an alternate version of Loki. So is he messing up the timeline, or are they just arresting him because they know of what he's done in the past regarding like Thor and the Asgardians and all that good stuff? So it's going to be very interesting to see, and it looks like he's going to help them for maybe a reduced sentence, or because there was one scene where he was like holding knives and like that prison outfit, so that could be tying into when he said he's going to burn the place down. But it's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It's the first one with the bad guy as the lead character, so we're going to be really interested in that. The other one's another.
Wait, before you go. So maybe I'm wrong, but was that a glimpse of Black Widow
in the Loki trailer?
Yeah, because there was for maybe a 2 seconds, there was a scene where it's like this purple aura, and it looked like Scarlett Johansson in the Black Widow costume with red hair.
It could potentially be. We don't know what's going to be going on in that show and what it connects to. So I would never say never, but it also might be one of Marvel's things just to throw you off like they typically do in trailers.
That's true.
But next one is their first animated thing that's going to be connected to the MCU, the What If. This is basically a whole hodgepodge of what if scenarios in the MCU. My two biggest ones that I saw from that trailer is what if Peggy Carter took the super soldier serum instead of Steve Rogers and she became Captain America, or what if T'Challa got abducted by aliens and he was the new Star-Lord. Those are the two biggest what if things I saw in that. And that's going to be it's animated, but they're using the main people's voices. They're trying to use their voices, so That'll be interesting. What did you think of that trailer?
I thought it was good. I'm very intrigued to see like what other stories they tell, like what if stories they tell. I know there was some with Doctor Strange. It looked like one where Bucky was fighting a zombie Captain America.
Yes.
So that I think that those will be cool to see. There's like alternate versions of our beloved stories that we know.
Yeah, and those were really, yeah, because WandaVision, Falcon, Winter Soldier, Loki, What If were the ones that actually came with trailers. There were still more announcements. Finally, Hawkeye, you kind of broke it a couple days before they did with a picture on Twitter. Cat's out of the bag that Haley Seinfeld's going to be playing Kate Bishop. And I think that was interesting timing too, as Kate Bishop was just came out in the Marvel Avengers video game. So that's cool. Even though he didn't get an original movie out of the original six, it's good to see that Hawkeye will be getting a show on Disney Plus, and the premise is looking like he's going to be mentoring Kate Bishop so that another original six person can retire him and she take on the role as Hawkeye. And it's also rumored that, circling back to Black Widow, Florence Pugh, she's going to be in this as well.
Yeah, like you said, I did share the pictures because I saw them on Twitter of Kate Bishop and Hawkeye on set. And from the pictures, Kate Bishop's costume looks great. I'm very interested to see how they tell the story of Hawkeye mentoring Kate Bishop and like what kind of story they can tell with those two.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how Kate gets to Clint, because just like at the end of Endgame, I mean, his best friend, he saw his best friend die in Black Widow, so
right.
You would think retire for good, unless Shield or something needs him, and she shows up at his house, but no one really knows where he lives. So that would be interesting as well. Another to tie into the video game again, we finally got a little teaser of Miss Marvel. And if you've played the video game, Miss Marvel has been hailed as one of actually the best things about the story mode because of her character. And she is getting her show. We got a little teaser to see who is playing Miss Marvel. And she's a newer character. So it'll be interesting to see for the people who've never played the video games or comics if they're going to warm up to her.
I think if they, with the story they tell, it just depends on how they tell it. I think people will. Because the first time I ever interacted with her was in that Marvel's Avengers game. And the way they did the story with her was very refreshing. And I just made me fell in love with Miss Marvel. She's actually one of my mains in the game. So I think just depending on how they tell the story, and like you said, it was just a short teaser with the creators just talking about, what it means to bring this character to life. This also ties back in, with representation matters because she's a young Muslim woman who's becoming a superhero, which is just awesome to think about. And just MCU has been doing a great job with just representation in general.
They're hitting the nail on the head with that. And then a couple other shows that were announced that we didn't get any trailers to. She-Hulk, it was confirmed that Mark Ruffalo, the Hulk, will be in there. And also Abomination, who has not been seen since 2008 Hulk movie, will be in this movie too. And that's going to be Jennifer Walters. If people don't know her, she's Bruce Banner's cousin. And she will become She-Hulk. So having an OG Avenger in that and an OG villain will be very interesting in that too. Moon Knight still coming out. There really wasn't anything talked about with Moon Knight. We didn't get a trailer. We still don't even know who's playing Moon Knight. A lot of people thought it was going to be Oscar Isaac, but he's playing Solid Snake. So I think that was really it from the TV perspective. Are we missing anything else from the TV?
Actually, we are missing a couple from the TV. Secret Invasion TV show was announced.
That is true,
which is going to be huge. Like in the comics, it was the Skrulls invading, but I actually think with the TV show, it'll flip it and have the Kree invading instead of the Skrulls, because at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, you find out that the Skrulls have been working with Nick Fury, so there's no way they're going to be invading. So I think they'll spin it to have the Kree be like the secret invaders, and have Nick Fury and like the Skrulls working to stop that. And I'm sure we'll probably get like Avenger cameos in that one.
Well, what if What if the Skrulls broke off the two factions, an evil side and a bad side?
That is true because Super Skrull has never been introduced, and I know he's a bad guy in the comics, so actually that could be true. They could have two different factions.
You're right, and then that show, that show is coming out now. I got the list. I was like, what am I missing? But also with Nick Fury, he's also getting his own show, right? Like his own show.
I didn't see that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did a young Nick Fury.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's getting his own, so he'd be pulling double duty with that. So yeah, that's going to be interesting because it's going to come to a point. I'm going to tie this in when we talk about the movie side, but there's something with this show and the shows and the movies. But even with that show, you also have Armored Wars or Armored. I don't know if it's Wars, but
yeah, it's Armor Wars.
Yeah, and that's starring an OG Avenger as well. I didn't think he'd get a show. Rhodey.
Yep.
War Machine, and everyone knows he's the best friend of Tony Stark. And that show is exploring the premise of after Tony's death, what happens when his tech gets into the wrong hands. So I'm thinking with that, Rhodey is going to be on the mission like, I got to preserve my best friend's legacy, so I got to be the one to stop people from getting my tech. And I was happy that he got a show, that he's getting a show.
Yeah, me too. He was a good character in the MCU. I love Don Cheadle as an actor. So I'm very excited to see how this story will play out with War Machine being like the next Iron Man, so to speak.
Yeah, and even with being the next Iron Man, you have Ironheart coming out. Riri Williams. She's newer in the Marvel lore. She's a young African American woman who makes the most sophisticated iron suit since Iron Man, so she kind of probably going to be the person who becomes the next Iron Man, but she calls herself Ironheart. So we'll be interested to see who's in that show.
Yes.
How the story.
I'm sure they probably have. I'm assuming they would have Rhodey in that one too, since they can't have Iron Man because he, sacrificed himself at the end of Endgame. So I think it'll be like War Machine mentoring Riri Williams.
With any of those shows, both of those shows, I feel like should have Happy or Pepper in it.
Yes, or Iron Man's daughter, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. I feel like they both should, or they all should be in it. So that's going to be real interesting to see with that, because those announcements, I was just like, no one was expecting those two, but hey, I can dig it.
And there's actually another show that I wasn't expecting either. I Am Groot. Groot is getting his own show.
Yeah, that was an interesting one because the Guardian, I guess they're having some holiday special too, and Groot's getting his own little show, and I'm just like, what is? And this is not even. And it's about baby Groot, so we're going back to like Guardians of the Galaxy 22. So I don't know what they're about to chronicle on that. I just know that one's going to be popular with the kids.
Yep. I wonder if it's going to be animated or real.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's going to tie into the MCU as a whole. Were there any other shows? Because I completely forgot about the Iron shows. Those were just under the radar.
Yeah, those are the only shows that they announced. If they have announced something else after that, I'm not aware of it yet.
Yeah, me. And first one, WandaVision's coming out January 15, 2021. Then Falcon, Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, supposed to be coming out in 2021 as well. Then you have Hawkeye, Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, which we still don't have anything about, and She-Hulk, I think, for 2022. And do we have a date for the Armored Wars and Ironheart?
No, they have not released a date for any of those. I'm thinking 2022 for those.
Did we have one for Secret Invasion?
No, it's just an announcement. So I'm thinking that would be 2022 as well.
Yeah, pretty much. I think 2020. And then we go into movies. First thing, we already talked about Black Widow. Disney nipped it right in the bud. Black Widow is still going to be coming out in theaters. They weren't going to copy Warner Brothers and stuff and do their 2021 on HBO Max or for them Disney Plus. So Black Widow is still slated to come out May 7th, 2021. The other movie that's supposed to come out, other movies that are supposed to come out in 2021, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. That's supposed to come out July 9th, 2021. And that one, we're supposed to have the real... Oh, man, what was his name, too? It was crazy.
The Mandarin.
Yeah, the real Mandarin. That was the biggest disappointment in Iron Man 3, having that fake one after the trailers were making him look like the real freaking deal. But that's what Marvel does see sometimes. Those trailers get you.
Yep.
So that's around 2021. You also have Eternals, which that one's under the radar too. That's supposed to come out in 2021 as well. November 5th, 2021. So that, and there's a lot more. We're supposed to have the Spider-Man movie coming out. I'd say right now it's tentatively December 17th, 2021. But also Doctor Strange. And I think Doctor Strange, the way from these shows and these movies, Doctor Strange is setting up to be the connector of everything.
Yep, because they rumored that he was going to be a part of the WandaVision show, and they rumored that he was going to be connected to the Spider-Man 3 movie.
Yes, and they said they would have direct something like combined. Yeah, like you've already said. And with the Spider-Man 3 movie, who is not rumored to not be in that movie?
There's so many rumors. First off, we have Jamie Foxx's Electro confirmed and Alfred Molina's Dr. Octopus confirmed. The rumors so far that Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Kirsten Dunst, and Emma Stone will be returning. But the most surprising rumor that is Charlie Cox's Daredevil will be in it, which would be awesome if they connected the Netflix TV series to the larger MCU.
And yeah, I actually want to save that Charlie Cox thing for my end thing about after we're done talking with these movies, because I want to get your opinion on something that Kevin said that it kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit, but maybe I was just thinking into it, but it actually involves Charlie Cox. And then we have, with you would have said a couple before Thor Ragnarok, you would have said Thor was getting a fourth movie, you'd think it'd be crazy. But Thor Love and Thunder, which that's another movie that's supposed to be rumored to a lot of people. Star-Lord's rumored to be in that movie. Obviously, you got Jane, Valkyrie. It just was announced that, God knows she's been gone forever. Sif is going to be in this movie.
Yep, Lady Sif is returning. So I wonder if they're going to bring back those original guys with Thor's original friends from Thor 1, I think Volstagg and I can't remember the other guys.
Well, remember all three of them, because we wonder where Sif was. All three of them got killed by Hela.
Right.
And they can't even bring one of them back because one of them back was Zach Levy, and he's Shazam.
True.
So yeah, we've been wondering. It's one of those things like Captain Marvel took over where have you been all this time when things were going down? Because it used to be Sif when it came to the Thor world, because this girl just disappeared.
I think she was in Thor 1 and hasn't been seen since, because I don't remember her being in Thor 2.
She was in Thor 2 because she gave Jane Foster the side eye, because that's the quote unquote woman Thor picked over her.
Right. I remember now.
Thor 2, she wasn't in Thor 3. She didn't show up in the final scenes of Avengers Endgame. Like, she wasn't there when Asgard got blown up. So I really hope they address where she's been. And then we finally got who Christian Bale is going to be playing in the movie, and he's going to be playing a villain. We don't know if he's the main villain, but he's going to be a main villain.
Gore the God Butcher, which is a great villain name, by the way.
Oh yeah, but I feel like if you're paying Christian Bale money, he has to be the main villain of the movie.
Right, he's a goat.
Yeah, so those are the movies: Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, whatever the Spider-Man movie's going to be called, Thor, Love and Thunder, Doctor Strange. We also, Kevin Feige did confirm that they will not be recasting T'Challa, and they're just going to explore the other characters in Black Panther 2, which is good. I felt like that was the right move. It always sucks with these things. You and I are big avid wrestling fans, so you know when someone gets hurt when they're not supposed to, and you have to change a whole year's worth of storylines.
Yeah.
So that sucks, but even worse when someone passes unexpectedly and you're just like, you feel it's terrible, but then from your business side, you're just like, oh man, we had all these plans for this guy. Now we have to pivot. But they'll find a way. Ryan Coogler's still the director. All those actors are coming back. It'll be interesting. I think the easiest thing is just to make Shuri Black Panther.
That's what I'm thinking they'll do too. I know there's a rumored that maybe they might bring Killmonger back and have him Black Panther. So we'll see what they do. I think the easiest thing to do would be Shuri, though.
That would be. I don't like that move with Killmonger because it takes away from death,
right?
And this whole mess in it. And then Captain Marvel will be coming out 2022. Captain Marvel 2, and that movie will have Carol Danvers obviously coming back. But we will also have Miss Marvel co-starring in that movie.
Yes, which I think is interesting. I mean, not interesting, but I think it's great because, again, with the Marvel Avengers game, you see that Miss Marvel is Captain America's number one. Not Captain America. Captain Marvel's number one fan. So I think that's so I think it's a great touch to add her into the Captain Marvel 2 movie. I feel like they're going to have her a Captain Marvel cameo in the Miss Marvel show.
I think so, yeah.
Because that's the way they'll introduce each other, and then okay, well, I see you're a superhero, so can you come help me out in Captain Marvel too?
Yeah, I 100% agree with that, because which means we'll get a Captain Marvel will be on Earth. That's a big deal,
right? She hasn't been seen since Endgame. Because in Spider-Man: Far From Home, Nick Fury says, "Oh well, she's off world."
Every time. Yes, Captain Marvel 2 is supposed to come out November 11th, 2022, and Black Panther 2 is supposed to come out July 8th, 2022. And then there's still things that are to be determined. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, we already know it's happening. They haven't put a date on that. And then I think this is the biggest one, because I think this confirmed who Phase 5's bad is going to be. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, so, playing off WrestleMania. And they announced that, they confirmed it always rumored, that Kang the Conqueror will be in this movie.
I mean, that's interesting. I don't know if he's small, not to say that Ant-Man and the Wasp are small-time superheroes, but if they're going to do a large Kang the Conqueror story arc, it's just interesting that they would first introduce him in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, because from just their sets alone, Ant-Man and Wasp aren't enough to beat that guy.
Right.
So that's going to be very interesting. Also, you have Cassie Lang, Ant-Man's daughter. The grown-up version is going to be in this. So, and Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer will be back. But that Kang, because I feel like he's going to be the Phase 4 big bad. Because that guy's going through time, and they opened up that thing with the quantum realm and things like that. So that's going to be interesting. And then I guess the thing that's finally been announced is that the Fantastic Four will finally be showing up in the MCU.
Fans have wanted that for so long, because not to say that, the first 3 Fantastic Four movies were terrible. I think it just left a lot to be desired by fans, especially the last Fantastic Four, Miles Teller and the guy who plays Killmonger. I think it just left a lot to be desired for fans. So I'm interested to see how they're going to do in the MCU, because the guy who directed Spider-Man: Homecoming and Far From Home, John Watts, will be directing this movie. And I like those 2 Spider-Man movies, so I think he'll do a good job with it. I'm just interested to see how they'll tell that story.
Yeah, my biggest thing with Fantastic Four is, are they going to even be important? Because they're coming in so late in the game. The reason I'm saying that is that Marvel lore, comic, the Fantastic Four is the first family of Marvel. They're a big deal in the Marvel community, the first superhero team, things like that. You're coming in, you don't even have a date yet, so you might not be coming out till maybe, you don't even have a cast. So you might not be coming out till 2024, 2025. And by then, we'll be at, 30 plus MCU movies?
Yeah.
So it's how can you make that group important? But you can't call them the first family of Marvel in the MCU, because we've already gone through. You guys might be Phase 5 or 6, and we've already fought Thanos and all those things. So I'm interested to see how they make those 4 important and relevant to the MCU. I guess with Dr. Reed Richards, I mean, him being one of the smartest people in the world, if not the smartest, he could help them on other things. My biggest thing with Fantastic Four is that if they're coming, that means Doctor Doom is coming.
Oh, Doctor Doom is such a good villain.
So if he's coming too, I can get on board with that, because that's just really. And then potentially with the Fantastic Four, besides Doom, you always got the story with the Silver Surfer, and potentially maybe they're the ones who signal the other next big bad that we've been thinking about forever, and that's Galactus.
So, man, he could be the Phase 5 or Phase 6 main villain. They could introduce, like, I guess, Doctor Doom in there, and then, like, maybe he's working for Galactus. They could do so many things with that story.
Yeah, so that is going to be interesting. There was still no word, even at this investor thing, nothing on the X-Men. There was nothing on them. They didn't even talk about Blade, and they announced Blade at the last Comic-Con we were allowed to have people at.
Yeah, 2018. So I would love to have seen something from Blade, just like maybe more characters announced, or like a release date or something.
So those are interesting things. There's a whole bunch of stuff, and we ran the dates with you guys. But my thing now is what Kevin Feige talked about Disney Plus, because there's a lot of shows coming out on Disney Plus. It's not like stand-in actors. These are the actors who were doing their roles in the movie. And he talked about these shows are going to be they're going to be super interconnected with the MCU. So that's what I was talking about. My biggest gripe thing, that now you're going to say these shows are all Omega connected and will all be weaving together, when you literally had, what you brought, Charlie Cox, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, The Punisher, Defenders. All those shows were happening in the MCU that some people don't understand. This was all happening at the same time. They're all the same city and story, but they were never acknowledged on the big screen. So now when we talk about that big rumor of Daredevil potentially being, I'm like, there's no way, because you guys don't even act like he existed. So you're gonna bring him in and be like, oh yeah, these shows existed. We just had to wait till we felt like saying it.
Yeah, that's a bad part on Marvel's part. Like, they should have acknowledged them as part of the MCU, because I think a lot more people would have been invested in those shows.
Yeah, and people liked them.
Yeah, they were
certain seasons.
Yeah. Overall, I would say, they were good shows for what they were. Daredevil was probably the best out of those shows.
That's most consistent. All 3 seasons were great.
Yep. So I think now that you're acknowledging them, if it's true that Charlie Cox will be in Spider-Man 3, I think maybe they could potentially bring them back, because they were canceled for no reason. Like, there was no reason that they were canceled. They weren't bad shows. Like, people were watching them and they were invested in Netflix and all of that good stuff. So I still don't know the reason why they were canceled. So if they do bring Charlie Cox back, I think they potentially could bring those shows back, which I would love to see.
Yeah, they were canceled too, I think, with the Netflix contract. That's the thing too with Disney. I mean, they got, no fault to their own. They made their own streaming service, and they're like, hey, we want our stuff on the streaming service. Netflix is like, hold on, we still have the contract with you. We're still entitled to these characters. So we're going to do this. And then Disney's like, all right, we're not renewing it. And then cancel. So they're just going to wait it out, essentially. I don't know how long that's going to be to get those characters back. But I always felt like if you watched it and you didn't know they were connected, they were perfect in their own way. But you knew they were all connected together. And it's just like, really? You guys are all fighting. The Hand must not, like the Defender series, which they were all leading to that, and that was disappointing. You would think that, we're fighting the Hand in New York. Maybe we need some help. But obviously the Hand wasn't big enough for the original Avengers to be in that show, and this was all happening in New York. Most of the Avengers live in New York.
Yep.
I mean, Daredevil. The only thing I guess with Charlie is the fact that he's a lawyer, real life, so he could potentially be being Peter Parker's lawyer when he's on trial for being outed at Spider-Man, which was one of the craziest things I thought Marvel did in that second movie. So that it's tough because it's like, so you're gonna reintroduce Jessica Jones. We already know who she is. Like, you don't need origin stories. Now you're gonna make this stuff like Luke Cage, and they all just ended in a way I was like, this ain't really closure. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, they were, like I said, canceled prematurely before they got the closure that the fans deserve.
Yeah, and I think Punisher season 2 was their last one.
It was either that or Jessica Jones.
Season 3. She gets us season 2. She only got to season 2, right?
I thought she got to season 3. I could be wrong.
No, she got to season 3 because season 2, her main bad guy was her mom, and then like season 3 was salty that her best friend, she had to put her best friend. That's another thing that pisses me off about those connections, because they sent, in season 3 at the end, she sent Trish to the Raft. The Raft was established in Civil War.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, well, also, if you're sending them to the Raft, technically, wouldn't you be sent to the Raft? Because I'm pretty sure none of you people on the MCU Netflix version, none of you signed the Accords.
Nah, they probably didn't, since they weren't acknowledged in the bigger MCU verse.
Yeah, so it's like, that would be interesting if that's what they want to finally do. That's cool. I know it's hard to even get MCU fans to watch those Daredevil and all that stuff, because they're like, is it connected to the movies? I'm like, well, they're in the same world. But once you hit them with the, if I don't watch this, will I miss something in the movies? A connection. And you're like, no. Then they don't watch it. So now with Feige and them, they're going to be like, yeah, these are all connected to the movies and shows and whatnot. And if you want to keep up with the MCU,
you got to watch everything.
You got to watch everything, which means you're going to have to start forking over money for Disney Plus. And I mean, some people already have enough streaming service as is, and now if you want to be connected, you got to watch them.
I think you're going to have to. It sucks to say that, they decided to go this route, but I feel like some of these stories, like Secret Invasion, you can't just do a 2-hour movie with Secret Invasion. That has to be a TV show.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just feel like the end of WandaVision, that last episode, Doctor Strange, because she's supposed to be in his movie, she's going to like, come with me, I need your help. And it's wild because you're seeing all these big time actors who make millions on the movie screen doing shows. So now this new era of MCU after Endgame is like, yeah, it's not enough that you have to go to all the movies and sit through the whole credits to see the post-credit scene, because back in the day, that's what it was. You saw the post-credit scene and you're like, oh, okay. Now you got to sit through those, watch that, and watch the 10, 12 plus Disney Plus shows.
Yeah, I think they said there were 10 years of MCU shows that they have planned out. So it's going to be a lot. Mm-hmm. A lot of good stuff in the next 10 years.
Yeah, we're going to have to see if they can actually, can they carry the MCU without the original 6 leading the way?
I feel like they have interesting stories to tell. Like, for one fact, for Doctor Strange 2, Baron Mordo, he like turned on them. Yep. So like he has a story that they could tell. So I think there's a lot of good characters that have come out of like Endgame, that they have stories. You can tell, like Wanda, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, because of the twist ending in Far From Home. So yep. I think they could carry.
Yeah, I think they could, but it's like one of those things now. It's different because, well, obviously we didn't get an MCU movie this year, which sucks. So we really, because of coronavirus, so we don't know what Black Widow's end credit scene would have been. But for the 10 years, we got the scenes. It was all leading to the Infinity Stones and the war with Thanos. And that you even noticed Kevin Feige didn't announce when Avengers 4 is coming out.
Right.
Like, if we're having stuff potentially to 2022, 23, when is Avengers 4 coming out? Because that's when you know the Avenger date, that's when you start watching everything. Like, I need to be caught up by this date.
Yep. And I thought, like, who was going to be, like, the main villain in Avengers 4? Because there's, like, been so many rumors of, like, who it could be. Adam Warlock, I know they've rumored him multiple times of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Like, maybe is he going to be the big bad next? Like, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. That's the thing, too. What are we building towards? You announce all this stuff, but what fight are we? Because there's no way. It's funny because the rumors were going to be that Secret Invasions was going to be Avengers 4.
Right.
Now it's going to be a show, and there's no way you're getting all those characters on those episodes of those shows on Disney Plus, unless you really want people to get Disney Plus.
Right.
Because they're going to stop the war before it even gets to the big screen.
Exactly. So, like, Secret Invasion, like, whoever is invading is not going to be the big bad. So I have no idea, like, who the next big bad is. I have no idea where they are going with the story. But I am very interested, to tune in to see, what's going on. Kicks off with WandaVision. I think the last rumored, like, MCU thing is Captain Marvel 2.
Yeah, from WandaVision is Captain Marvel 2 is November. WandaVision's January 15th, 2021, and Captain Marvel 2 is November 11th, 2022. So from that to that, we have a whole bunch of shows in between and movies. And the MCU has come to the point where they're not even just movies anymore. It's a culture, and it's an event. It's an event to go to those movies on premiere night.
Like when we went to Endgame, I think we had at least 15 people that we brought.
We had a row and
so we had a lot because we all wanted to see it at the same time and talk about it afterwards. I think we went to Steak and Shake afterwards, like a group of us, and talked about it. Mm-hmm. So they are big events.
Oh yeah, I mean, an Endgame was a global event. Like, if you didn't see it that day, you weren't a part of something significantly bigger. So like the movies are events. And then once you get to the Avenger movie, you're just like, we got to lock in. You have to buy your tickets because they're going to be sold out if you don't. So we're going to see if they can continue that buzz, but they have looks like there are no ways of slowing down right now. So we're going to have to wait and see, man. We're going to have to wait and see. Byron, anything else you want to hit on the MCU before we sign off? Because me and you will technically be back sometime this week because we have to preview the Big Ten title game.
Yep, I definitely will be looking forward to that episode. But in regards to the MCU, I think we covered it all. We talked about the game a little bit. We talked about the TV shows and the movies. I don't think there's anything else. I do have a question for you. What are you looking forward to the most in these next 2 years?
Well, obviously I want to see Black Widow's movie because that's a queen. And Black Panther 2 is going to be the other thing, and my biggest thing in these next 2 years besides those is what is going to be the official Avengers team?
That's true.
Are we going to have a whole bunch of events like WWE? We're going to have part-timers coming in when they want to help and then leave and disappear? Like, who is going to be the team stationed at Avengers headquarters, and who's going to be the first Avengers level threat to get this group of people together? And who's going to be the leader?
I think it would have to be Falcon since he is taking over as Captain America.
But there's another. But now we have Captain Marvel. Yes. So would she be the captain?
That is a very good question. As of now, I don't think she's on world enough to be the leader, but that all could change in the next 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, if Nick Fury comes down and says Danvers is in charge, that's who they're. I mean, that's the thing too. How much is Nick Fury going to be involved in this? How much is Maria Hill, Coulson? Like, what are these guys doing? Who are going to be the new? Like, what's going to be the new way of community? Who's going to be saying Avengers Assemble? I guess that'll be the thing. Who will be saying that at the end? And who's going to be the one who makes the sacrificial I am Iron Man? Like, I'm looking for those.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of mystery involving these next 2 years. Personally, I think I'm looking forward to WandaVision and Black Widow, because like those are two, like the first two that are coming next year, and we've been waiting a whole year for Black Widow. And from the trailers, the movie is just gonna be awesome.
Yeah, wherever you guys are listening to this, YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or Twitter, comment who you think's going to be the new Avengers team. Me and Byron will comment on ours once this episode's drop, and we'll put ours underneath, because that's if you could just pick 6 heroes from this whole thing, who do you think will be the main Avengers team? And is that team going to be strong enough to take on someone like Galactus or Kang?
I don't know, man. And then also, like, are they going to bring like She-Hulk and Ironheart? Are they going to be a part of the Avengers team?
Yeah, I mean, are they going to be part of it? I mean, it's because and with the OG Avengers who are still around, I don't know the status of Hulk's arm because he did the snap, and even at Endgame it was in a cast. Is he going to come back and be a leader on the team? Is the God of Thunder going to come back, or is he staying in space, or Thor for his last move? Like, there's still some OG Avengers, but there's basically the OGs are gone. But we'll see what they do, because I'm really interested in seeing who's going to be the main team and who's going to be the call-ups.
So I know Chris Hemsworth, the actor who plays Thor, I know at one point he said he was going to be done after, I think, the third one, but then they like changed the style because Tiki Watiti, if I'm probably mispronouncing his name so bad, came in and like changed the script around. So Chris was like, "Oh well, I'm having fun with Thor again." So I don't know how many pictures he's going to be signed up for, but like when Thor 4 was first announced, I thought that was going to be his last movie, because they were going to pass the mantle to Jane, because she was going to be Lady Thor. So we'll see. It's very, very interesting time. Thor 4 is probably going to be the most interesting to see if they pass it to Valkyrie, because at the end of Endgame, he's like, "Well, I want you to take over watching the Asgardians." But then they announced that Jane was going to be Lady Thor. So it's going to be interesting to see who takes that mantle on.
Yeah. We're going to have to see, because Thor technically, even Hemsworth, because he's in Guardians, he'll be in Guardians 3, because that's what he left with. So we'll see, man. We'll see. There's a lot to know. I mean, we're going to be keeping an eye out. It all starts WandaVision January 15th. They're going to have to force me to get Disney Plus, because I can't review the MCU if I'm not watching.
Oh, yeah. We'll have to have our weekly podcast about these upcoming TV shows.
I know. And I mean, you and I, too, we need to, on a side note, to go to the DC realm, we need to link up to start, because obviously we're equal around here. Love DC and Marvel. But we got a couple weeks before the Arrowverse starts, so we got to get ready to preview that and where we left off with them.
It's a lot of good stuff. I'm very happy to be a nerd right now, because there's a lot of good stuff coming out in the next couple of years.
It's the best thing, man. Byron, anything else before we sign off?
Nope, not that else I can think of.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening to L7C Podcast. Thank you, Byron, for being on with me today. Like I already said, we're going to be back in a couple of days reviewing the Buckeyes, but we had to get the superhero nerd culture out there, because there's so much that came out. So we'll be back in a couple of days. And again, thank you, everyone, for listening to the podcast. Take care. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C Podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.